Every photo you take, every document you save, every movie you stream, all of that stuff has to live somewhere, right? But here's the thing, not all digital homes are built the same. So today, we're going to dive into the two fundamental ways our world's data gets stored: object and block storage. And you might be surprised to find out that how your data is stored is just as important as where. I mean, think about it for a second. The entire library of a service like Netflix, that is a truly staggering amount of data. So where is it? Is it just on some giant hard drive somewhere? Well, yeah, kinda, but that's not the really interesting question. See, the how is what determines everything. How fast you can get to it, how much it costs, and how you can possibly scale up to serve millions of people. And it turns out there are two completely different philosophies for how to do this. Okay, to really get this, we're going to use a super simple analogy that just perfectly captures the difference. So for a minute, forget about servers and disks, and let's just think about parking your car. Okay, so here's the core idea. Think of block storage as that organized parking garage. You get assigned a specific spot, maybe F33, and you always know exactly where to find your car. And then you've got object storage, which is totally different. It's like a valet. You just pull up, hand over the keys, you get a little claim ticket, and you just trust them to park it somewhere safe. You don't know where it is, and frankly, you don't need to. All right, so let's keep that garage and valet idea in our heads, and now let's pop the hood and see what's actually happening on a technical level. You're going to see how this simple idea plays out in the real world. Okay, so this table really lays it all out. With block storage, our garage, your data gets chopped up into these fixed-size blocks. It's super fast and precise. It's like if you want to change a tire on your car, you just go to your spot and change that one tire. But with object storage, our valet, your entire file is one bundled object. To change anything, even something tiny, you have to give the valet a whole new car. Now, this key difference makes the garage really fast, but also pretty expensive, while the valet is incredibly cheap and can scale to handle millions and millions of cars. Now, here's something that trips a lot of people up. If you've ever used a service like Amazon S3, you have definitely seen what looks exactly like a folder structure. So if object storage is just this giant, flat valet lot, what in the world is going on? Well, here's the trick. That path you see, something like photos/cat.jpg, that's not a real folder structure. The entire string, slashes and all, is just the unique name of the object. It's the valet ticket. The slashes are literally just there to create a familiar-looking folder view for us humans. But behind the scenes, it's all just in one giant, unorganized bucket. So you're probably wondering, if it doesn't have folders, how do you organize anything? Well, the answer is what I like to call the superpower of object storage: metadata. And this is where that valet analogy really shines. When you give the valet your car, their ticket doesn't just know where it's parked. It might also have your name on it, the car's color, the time you dropped it off. All that extra info, that's metadata. Just think about a hospital storing x-rays, right? With block storage, it's just a file with a name. But with object storage, you can attach these rich, searchable tags to it. That means a doctor could, instantly pull up every single x-ray that's tagged with body part knee from Dr. Smith, all without ever having to open a single file to see what's inside. That is the power of metadata. Okay, so we've got our two options: the fast, precise parking garage and the huge, flexible valet service. Which one do you choose? Well, it all depends on the job you need to do. Let's start with our garage. You need block storage when speed and the ability to make tiny, frequent changes are absolutely non-negotiable. Think about a really busy database. It's constantly reading and writing tiny little bits of information, and that requires the precision of having a dedicated parking spot. The same thing goes for your computer's operating system, your C drive, or the virtual hard drive for a server. These systems need instant piece-by-piece access just to function. All right, so when do you call up the valet? Well, you use object storage when you need to store enormous amounts of data that won't really change very often, but you need to be able to get to it from anywhere. And here we are, right back at our original question about Netflix. All of those movies are perfect examples of static assets. They get written once, and then they're read millions of times. It's the same for backups, long-term archives, or those massive, petabyte-scale data lakes that are used to train AI models. These are all write once, read many situations, and that is the absolute sweet spot for our valet service. All right, let's bring it all home with a final showdown. We're going to tackle two really important questions, just to make sure everything we've learned really sticks. Okay, pop quiz. Based on what we've learned about needing to replace the whole car every time you make a change, Do you think you could run a busy database on object storage? The answer's a hard no. It's just the wrong tool for the job. Just try to imagine you'd have to re-upload a massive 10 GB database file every single time one user updated their profile. It would be impossibly slow and inefficient. For databases, you absolutely need the garage. Okay, final question, and the answer to this one might actually surprise you. You've got your super fast, dedicated parking garage, and you have the massive, flexible valet lot. Which one is structurally safer and less likely to lose your stuff in a disaster? The answer, surprisingly, is the valet. And this is the reason why. See, most object storage services are built for extreme durability. By default, when you upload a file, they automatically create and store copies of your data in at least 3 different geographically separate locations. There's just no way your one single parking garage can compete with that level of safety. This makes the valet service way, way more resilient to disaster. So really, it all just boils down to this one core trade-off. You choose block storage when you need raw speed and that surgical precision. And you choose object storage when you need near infinite scale and flexibility, all at an incredibly low cost. So that leaves us with one last thing to think about. If you were building the next Instagram, you'd need a database for all the user profiles, the comments, the likes, but you'd also need a place to store billions and billions of photos and videos. Now that you know the difference, how would you design it? Which digital home would you choose for each piece of that puzzle?